Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Oh, hello there. I just finished my work from home. Oh, you want to know more about workplace learning? Let me introduce you to some new thing about workplace learning. Let's go. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hanif bin Mazin. So our group will present about workplace learning. So currently, there is a significant reliance on acquiring vocational skills in workplace. The move to shift the development of vocational skills from the settings where those skills are deployed and located within the educational institutions has occurred throughout this country and still continues. With such shift have come claims that workplace learning is concrete and pragmatic, although the little evidence is offered to substantiate such claims. The purpose of educational programs was to develop these forms of knowledge, a view which has been challenged through the growing acknowledgement of the social origins and transmission of the knowledge. This suggests that a more specific view of learning and using knowledge needs to be considered. It is held that there are also factors which may inhibit the efficacy of the workplace as learning setting. So, if you want to know more about the factors, the pros and cons in workplace learning, let's proceed to Alif. Alif!
Okay, thank you Hanif for his brief introduction for this week topic that is workplace learning. So, I, Muhammad Alif bin Aziz, will continue the presentation with next subtopic, that is learning in the workplace current interest. So, what is the current interest about learning, workplace learning? So, for what I can say, there is 4 reasons to consider workplace learning for nowadays in current interest. So, there appear to be 4 reasons to consider the workplace as setting for learning vocational knowledge. So, for many industries and enterprises, the option of skill development in formal education setting is simply unavailable. So, for the first reason to consider is skill development in formal educational is simply unavailable. So, when when the students or the workers of some work in the formal educational in university, for example, skill development offered at the university is simply unavailable when it comes into the workplace. So, it is the first reason to consider in the workplace that we have to learn. We have to learning in the workplace. So the second is the increase in specialization and complexity of vocational activity. Because in workplace, the specialization and complexity of vocational activity is very crucial. And next, the third one is the demand for greater access to skill development process brought by linkages among remuneration, career progression and skill development. So in workplace, when the workers need getting paid more or career progression become more to be developed, so it is thing to consider the workplace learning. And the fourth one, the last one, construction of knowledge being mediated by social and cultural circumstances in which knowledge is experienced. So in workplace learning, we best learn by others, by experiencing with our colleague, with our co-workers. So it is very important that knowledge is best to be experienced by others. So that is the four things to consider workplace learning. That is the current issue. So without further ado, that's all from me. Now we move on to Akiff. Thank you.
So thank you Muhammad Alif for the previous presentation. So I'm Akiff. I'm going to present to you on constructing knowledge based on a socio-cultural view. So socio-cultural constructivism is content that knowledge is sourced through individuals' interaction with a socially determined world, but in our context is workplace in the form of its culture, community and practice. So let's take a look on how to improve constructing knowledge at workplace. The first thing is guidance. So there are two types of guidance that we can obtain at workplace. The first type of guidance is direct interpersonal. So direct interpersonal guidance is provided by a more expert person at our workplace, such as the manager or seniors that work a longer time or more time than we do. So the next type of guidance is indirect form. So indirect form of guidance such as social norms and practice, or the way physical setting determine practice. So indirect form of guidance we can obtain through daily activities that we do at the workplace, such as interaction between the workers itself or the individual with other individual. So the specific social circumstances within which individual interact are described as communities of practice, with the norms and practice of this community being referred to as their culture of practice. So individuals' initial representation of knowledge is different between one and another. So how can we improve individual representation of knowledge? So the first thing is participation in communities of practice such as workplace offer experience which result in a greater congruity in the construction of knowledge, permitting utility in the communities of practice which that knowledge is to be deployed. Second is everyday activities of the workplace provide opportunities for knowledge and its deployment to be repeatedly appraised, thus enforcing the value and linkage among different forms of knowledge. So for the next slide, I'm going to pass it to Arif. So thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Arifuddin bin Aimuddin, and I will go to the next stage, which is the potential of workplace learning. Okay, the potential of workplace learning is actually more to attributes of workplaces as learning environments. So there are four attributes of workplace learning. Okay, the first one is the authentic activities. Okay, in this point, I want to highlight that there is opportunities to engage in occupational tasks of increasing complexity. The potential to secure the depth of understanding required for complex work activities through workplace learning. The increasing complexity of work is making many work task become hard. It's requiring a rich conceptual base to understand, so it needs to work in a team. From this teamwork, you can learn many things and you have opportunities to understand the overall purpose of tasks, also be effective in this work later. The second attribute is the expert others. Okay, over time, the activity results in a collection of goals, securing procedures. This ongoing development is guided by the close or proximal guidance by expert others who are able to assist with the initial tentative solution to tasks and offer guidance about the means of securing goals. This guidance also contributes by managing the selection sequencing of tasks to assist development of skill for learners. Experts also provide the means and goals for achieving task goals through further practice and access to increasingly complex tasks. Next, the third attribute is other workers. In workplace learning, everyone is always want to advance himself and their performance. Besides, they will always gain the knowledge, whether theoretical, practical, or indirect form of guidance, such as listening to and observation of other workers in the workplace. Also, assist with the conceptualization of workplace tasks. Moreover, to be a professional should have a role model. This is because they too admirable and lies on the basis of the attitude, ability, greatness, intelligence, or even there are positive values available to that model that makes him inspired by it. And the last attributes of workplace learning is the engagement in tasks. It is hard that the active and constructive engagement in learning tasks, focus nature of engagement in workplace activities, presses the novice into a mode of knowledge achievement, which is conducive to accessing higher orders of procedural knowledge and deeper conceptual knowledge. However, as individuals acquire knowledge, they experience reinforcement as procedures become more effective. Predictions are realized through monitoring and task goals are achieved to a standard required by the culture of the workplace practice. That's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I am Muhammad Mizi bin Muhammad Fuad. So now I will proceed with the next subtopic for our group presentations for this week, which is about the possible limitation of workplace learning. So I believe that you all already know that what actually is workplace learning. That has been explained by my group member before this. So there are 3 points that I will discuss with you. For the first limitation is inappropriate knowledge. For your information, not all knowledge accessed in the workplace is desirable. For example, at our workplace, we always want to learn and gain knowledge that related with our field of work, right? But not all the things that we have learned in the workplace is a good thing. When we are at the workplace area, actually, we are observing the culture of workplace, such as if we are a new teacher in a school, we have observed all the things happen in the school. Maybe there are good things and also have bad things that we have observed. So for make you clear about this, I will give an example. Let's say you are a staff at a certain company, then the other staff or employer or your employer show negative negative behavior, attitudes or knowledge, such as always coming late to work, not follow the rules that has been set, spreading the bad thing about others, and many more. Therefore, we need to be selective about the knowledge that we have learned for our skills and knowledge development. So for the second point, which is the second limitation is access to authentic activities. The consequence for authentic activities is the opportunities to understand the overall purpose of task. So when we are lack of understanding about the activities or any task where we are not provided a clear or more specific exposure to an activity that needs to be implemented, therefore we will have a limited knowledge. So employer needs to take the suitable initiative to provide a clear and more specific knowledge so that each of their employees get the knowledge they deserve. Let's say we as a teacher, and then we are given a task from a school, and then we are also not given a proper guidance about that work or activity. So it will become difficult for us to implement or organize that task. So therefore, we cannot learn in the workplace for the development of our skills and knowledge if we are not given access to authentic activities. Lastly, for the third limitation is about reluctance of expert. So for this point, actually, it is more to the expert at our workplace do not give cooperation well, which is they are refused to give advice, encouragement, coaching, and ongoing support to the new employees. Maybe they are fear to lose their status or even concerned about displacement by those who they have guided. Usually, a workplace environment in which new employees will be encouraged to access, model, coaching, and seek insight from the expert. But actually, it is opposite from what we expect. For example, in our scope of professions, maybe it is happened to us when we are at our previous school for our practicum. A senior teacher at that school, which is the expert one about our subject, was not provided any advice or even support to us as a new teacher. Therefore, it makes our learning in the workplace were limited if the expert do not want or refuse to share their knowledge or experience with us. So I think that's all about the possible limitation of workplace learning. For the others 3 points for this limitation, I will pass to my friend. So I think that's all. See you in the class later. Thank you guys.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Zainuddin with matric number 2016-376469. I'm the last presenter for this group, and I would like to share about possible limitations of workplace learning. I would like to share about another 3 points, which are absence of expertise, opaque knowledge, and instructional media. Alright, now we go to the first point, which is absence of expertise. A lack of expertise is commonly affected by the lack of training in the workplace. Lack of training in the workplace will causes unsafe work environment. As an employer, you have a legal obligation to ensure you provide your employees with adequate help and safety trainings. By ignoring this responsibility, you could face legal action, and increase in workplace accidents will decrease staff morale and increase absence. For the second point, which is unhappy and unsatisfied employees, which mean inadequately trained employees are likely to experience poor job performance and increased levels of related stress. If your employees are feeling unhappy and undervalued, the chances of them searching elsewhere for progression and development opportunities will increase. For the third point, which is will reduce productivity. With constant updates in technology and increase in global trading, the level of competition between business is ever increasing. This means that it's even more important that your workforce is adequately trained with the education and skills levels needed to work safely and productively. Alright, now we go to the second point, which is opaque knowledge. Opaque knowledge, which means the lack of knowledge. One reason many people experience stress at the workplace is that they spend a lot of time searching for knowledge and information, but do not know where or how to find it. In a study made in Sweden 2010, it showed that 43% of the participants spend about 30 minutes every day to search for information. That obviously affects both employees and employer negatively. Employees may feel stress and frustration since time that could have been spent performing valuable work tasks is wasted searching for answers. In the short term, stressed and frustrated co-workers may commit more errors than they would normally. Alright, now we go to the last point, which is instructional media. Instructional media defined as a media such as a video, text, picture, podcast that being shared on web-based applications for others to interact with by posting, sharing, and commenting through Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. The limitation by using the instructional media is about the security. Using social media platforms on company networks opens the door for hackers to hack, and virus and privacy breaches. And the second point, which is potential loss of productivity. Some employees may spend an inordinate amount of time on social media for the personal reason. Enforcing a clear policy on terms of use while working can help to mitigate the risk. That's all from me. Thank you.
Alright, so you have learned from my groups about workplace learning. So what can you conclude? So as my conclusion, everyday work activities, when effectively structured, provide opportunities for accessing and constructing robust and transferable vocational knowledge. We can also conclude that the qualities of workplace provides expert guidance which press individuals into accessing more complex forms of knowledge. The key difference is the authenticity of the social and cultural context in terms of its relationship to the knowledge to be developed and its direct application to work practice. If these factors can be marginalized, then the full potential of workplace learning may be realized. So that's all from our groups. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.